Have you ever wondered why some people seem naturally good at saving money, while your paycheck disappears almost immediately after arriving?
Sometimes, the difference isn't your income at all. It is the way you think about money before spending begins.
Modern life constantly gives us reasons to spend, making it surprisingly difficult to recognize where our money disappears each month. Two people can earn identical salaries, yet build completely different financial futures, because their everyday money decisions are fundamentally different.
Today, we're exploring practical money habits inspired by Chinese saving traditions and adapting those principles for everyday American financial life.
This isn't about claiming everyone in one culture behaves identically, because China is diverse and individual financial habits naturally vary. Instead, we're examining useful ideas that can teach anyone how to become more intentional, disciplined, and confident with money.
The first powerful lesson is simple. Don't allow every dollar to make its own decision once it reaches your bank account.
The first powerful lesson is simple. Don't allow every dollar to make its own decision. Once it reaches your bank account,
imagine receiving your paycheck and immediately deciding how much belongs toward necessities, savings, investments, debt payments, and personal spending.
Your first responsibility is covering essential expenses, because financial planning becomes much easier once your basic monthly obligations are clearly understood.
then examine variable expenses, because small purchases can quietly become significant repeated dozens of times throughout an entire month.
A $5 purchase rarely destroys a budget by itself, but repeated $5 decisions can eventually create a surprisingly large financial leak. Saving more money often begins by identifying these small leaks. Instead of searching immediately for complicated investment strategies,
before each month begins, create a simple plan showing exactly where your expected income should go. This approach gives your income structure and prevents random spending decisions from controlling your financial future.
suppose your monthly take-home income is $4,000. Instead of guessing, assign every portion of that income a specific purpose.
Housing might receive $1,400, while groceries, transportation, utilities, and other necessities receive carefully planned amounts. Then deliberately direct money toward emergency savings, investments, debt reduction, and future goals, instead of simply hoping something remains afterward. This is the basic philosophy behind zero-based budgeting. Every dollar receives a purpose before the month is finished. Zero-based budgeting doesn't mean becoming broke at the end of every month. It means your money has already been assigned. Your bank account can still contain money, because savings and investments are considered planned destinations rather than leftover cash.
Once you have a spending plan, the next challenge is resisting the endless pressure to upgrade everything around you.
Modern advertising constantly suggests that happiness, confidence, and success can be purchased through newer and more expensive possessions.
But buying expensive things simply because other people own them can turn perfectly healthy finances into unnecessary financial pressure.
This is where lifestyle inflation begins. Someone else's spending becomes the invisible standard. That determines how much you think you should spend.
A higher income can create wealth, but only if your spending doesn't rise almost as quickly as your earnings.
Imagine two people earning $80,000 annually. Their financial futures could become dramatically different, despite identical starting points.
One person might spend every raise immediately, while the other quietly redirects those additional dollars toward investments and financial security.
Years later, the person who resisted lifestyle inflation may possess substantially more wealth without ever earning a larger salary.
Before buying something expensive, ask yourself whether you genuinely want the item or simply want other people to notice it.
That question can reveal how much of your spending comes from genuine needs versus social comparison and emotional impulses. The goal isn't to eliminate enjoyment. It is to make sure your purchases actually provide enough value to justify their cost.
Sometimes spending more is completely reasonable when the purchase improves your health, productivity, comfort, or long-term quality of life.
A quality chair may cost more initially, but if you use it every day for years, its long-term value can be significant. However, reasonable spending doesn't mean using the word need as an excuse to purchase the most expensive option available.
Everyone needs clothing. But needing clothes doesn't automatically mean needing luxury brands that cost several times more. Another useful technique is calculating cost per use, especially when you're considering a relatively expensive item.
A $300 item, used almost every day for 5 years, can have a much lower cost per use than its price suggests. That doesn't automatically make an expensive purchase smart, but it helps you judge value based on actual usage rather than price alone. Before buying, ask how often you'll use it, how long it should last, and whether you'll still want it later.
Giving yourself even a short waiting period can eliminate many purchases that feel urgent but become unnecessary after your emotions settle.
Impulse control is powerful because the easiest money to save is often money you never spend.
Food is another category where intentional habits can create meaningful savings without requiring extreme financial sacrifices.
Eating at home is often cheaper because restaurant prices include labor, rent, service, convenience, and many additional operating costs.
Preparing simple meals at home can reduce food expenses while still allowing you to enjoy nutritious and satisfying meals.
One restaurant meal isn't financially dangerous, but repeated restaurant spending can become surprisingly expensive over an entire year.
Spending $25 3 times every week can eventually add up to thousands of dollars over 12 months.
That money could instead strengthen your emergency fund, reduce debt, or become part of a long-term investment portfolio.
You don't need to stop socializing. You can simply make home gatherings a more affordable alternative to frequent restaurant outings.
Saving money becomes much easier when your social life doesn't automatically require spending large amounts every time. Another important principle is learning to become comfortable with living below your means, instead of constantly chasing upgrades.
When your income rises, you don't have to immediately increase every category of spending just because you can afford more.
Keeping your lifestyle relatively stable while increasing savings can create a powerful gap between income and expenses.
That gap is one of the foundations of wealth because it gives you capital that can eventually work for you.
Time becomes especially powerful when you consistently invest money, instead of repeatedly spending every extra dollar you receive.
Time becomes especially powerful when you consistently invest money instead of repeatedly spending every extra dollar you receive. Starting earlier can give your investments more time to compound, making consistency more important than trying to predict perfect market moments.
Even modest recurring contributions can become meaningful when they're maintained for many years and supported by disciplined financial behavior.
Another major lesson is to be extremely careful about borrowing money for purchases that don't improve your financial position.
Financing doesn't make an expensive purchase cheaper. It simply moves the payment burden into your future. When interest is added, you may ultimately pay considerably more than the item's original price.
The real danger of excessive debt appears when your income suddenly changes, but your monthly obligations remain exactly the same.
An emergency fund creates breathing room when unexpected expenses arrive, helping prevent temporary problems from becoming expensive debt. A major car repair can be stressful, but having dedicated emergency savings can prevent that expense from becoming a credit card crisis. Unexpected expenses are part of life. Financial preparation should account for problems that you cannot predict precisely. You don't need to build your entire emergency fund overnight. Consistent contributions can gradually create meaningful financial protection. The next habit is extremely simple, but surprisingly powerful. Know where your money actually goes. Know where your money actually goes. Start by reviewing the previous 30 days of transactions and grouping your spending into clear categories. Seeing the numbers together often reveals patterns that are almost impossible to notice when individual purchases feel insignificant.
You may discover that your biggest problem isn't coffee at all, but recurring expenses that quietly drain your account every month.
You may discover that your biggest problem isn't coffee at all, but recurring expenses that quietly drain your account every month.
Canceling services you rarely use can immediately create extra cash without reducing the quality of your everyday life.
Large fixed expenses deserve special attention. Changing one major cost can save far more than cutting dozens of tiny purchases.
A car isn't only the monthly payment. Ownership also includes insurance, fuel, maintenance, repairs, registration, and depreciation.
Choosing transportation that fits your actual financial situation can preserve thousands of dollars for more productive goals. Housing is another major category where keeping your costs reasonable can dramatically improve your ability to save and invest. A beautiful home can be enjoyable, but spending too much on housing can restrict nearly every other financial goal.
The best financial choice is often the one that leaves enough room for everything else that matters to you.
One of the simplest financial skills is learning to distinguish between something that improves your life and something that merely attracts attention.
Needs should be funded responsibly. Wants should be evaluated carefully. Consider value, timing, and affordability.
Ask yourself whether you'll actually use a purchase regularly, or whether excitement will disappear shortly after the package arrives. Many people don't have a spending problem because they buy expensive things. They have one because they repeatedly buy unused things.
Every unused purchase represents money that could have remained available for savings, investments, experiences, or future opportunities.
Your spending decisions today gradually shape the amount of freedom, flexibility, and security you experience years from now.
Financial freedom isn't necessarily about becoming extremely wealthy. It can simply mean having enough resources to make meaningful choices. Savings can give you the freedom to handle career changes, emergencies, and unexpected opportunities without immediately panicking about money.
Savings can give you the freedom to handle career changes, emergencies, and unexpected opportunities without immediately panicking about money.
The strongest financial habits are usually boring, repetitive, and consistent, rather than exciting or dependent on sudden breakthroughs.
Wealth often grows through ordinary decisions repeated consistently for years, rather than through one extraordinary financial decision. You don't need to constantly chase complicated strategies when disciplined saving, diversified investing, and patience can already accomplish a lot.
Trying to become rich overnight can encourage unnecessary risk, while steady financial progress gives your decisions more room to succeed.
The most useful money system is one you can realistically follow every month without feeling completely overwhelmed. Your budget doesn't need to be complicated. It simply needs to accurately reflect your income, priorities, obligations, and goals.
Tracking several months can help you understand variable expenses. Because one unusually expensive month may not represent your normal spending pattern. Once you understand your averages, you can create realistic spending limits instead of setting impossible targets that you quickly abandon.
Once you understand your averages, you can create realistic spending limits instead of setting impossible targets that you quickly abandon.
The ultimate lesson isn't to copy another culture perfectly, it's to adopt financial principles that genuinely improve your own life.
Spend intentionally. Avoid unnecessary lifestyle inflation. Prioritize value. Save consistently. And make sure your money supports your future.
Becoming financially secure isn't always about earning dramatically more money. Sometimes it begins by keeping more of what you already earn. Your money should work toward your goals instead of disappearing into impulse spending, because intentional financial habits can completely change your future.